As your child is packing his or her belongings for their move to university, this box of items will most likely be filled with important electronics like laptops, smartphones, and headphones. The accumulated items are undoubtedly worth a pretty penny, and the cost to replace them could easily add up to thousands of dollars. Luckily, your child won't need to bear the cost of stolen or damaged property if they also add tenant insurance to the list of back-to-school necessities. That's why in today's video, we'll be covering everything you need to know about insurance for students living away from home and why it's important to have the proper coverage. Universities themselves generally have insurance for their residences, but it often only covers damage to the property and not the student's personal belongings. You can inquire about the approach your child's university takes toward their insurance coverage to get a full understanding. For example, the University of Guelph in Ontario previously shared information from its residence agreement, stating coverage can often be attained through a rider or the family's tenant or homeowner's insurance policy, which should include liability coverage for injury or damage. The universities and colleges generally suggest that students obtain their own insurance either through their parents' policy or through their own tenant insurance policy. If your child lives on campus and attends university full-time, it's quite likely that they're protected under your own homeowner's insurance policy if you have one already. A simple call or email to your insurance provider can clarify what's covered and the financial parameters. Both liability and possessions may be covered. However, bear in mind that any claim filed under your child's behalf could also affect your own rating and discount for your insurance. So you may prefer that they get their own tenant insurance policy under their own name. This will also help them build insurance history to get further loyalty discounts down the road. Who doesn't love a good discount? If your child rents an apartment off campus, insurance is even more important because your liability coverage under your homeowner's policy may not be applicable, even if their possessions are covered. This is another reason that you should consider getting a tenant insurance policy under their own name. In addition, problems with rental properties aren't always a landlord's responsibility. If the tenant is found to be negligent for damages, they could be held liable for thousands of dollars. For instance, a party in the student's apartment could lead to property damage that could put a big dent in the bank account unless the student is insured. If you're on the fence about tenant insurance, here are 6 reasons why you should be insured as a university student living away from home. You're a new student. You may not think that you have much of value. But once you begin making that list, it usually becomes obvious that the cost to replace all your belongings will exceed $10,000 or more. If you've bought a new laptop and other items for school, these could quickly add up and you'll want to be covered for these new purchases. Arranging for tenant insurance can be as simple as making a phone call or getting online to get a quote and buy. No more than the cost of dinner each month, and you can get coverage for all your personal belongings, liability, and additional living expenses. If a fire, flood, or other damage forces you out of your apartment temporarily, insurance may be able to cover your cost of temporary lodging elsewhere. The last thing you need as a new student during exam time is to worry about paying for a new place to live just because your upstairs neighbor flooded his apartment. If a student does accidentally damage property in the building, inside the apartment or out, they could be covered if you have a tenant insurance policy. The insured tenant could also be protected against the cost of damage to the building caused by anyone visiting, so students don't need to worry about bubble wrapping the entire house. Although protection from liability and theft doesn't usually appear on many back-to-school shopping lists, it can be just as important as the textbooks or new laptop you're looking to buy. Without tenant insurance, you could be vulnerable to a variety of costly situations like theft, property damage, or injury. So if you want to have peace of mind and focus on your studies, head over to squareoneinsurance.com where you can get a tenant insurance quote as a student. You can also check out some of the other tenant resources here. So thanks for watching and best of luck in university.